And a very good Monday morning, or whatever time of day it is and day you're watching this. Right, we're back on the old trawl boat cottage, and I've started some of the line pointing. Now I've got a pre-mixed one, just bear with me. It's a pre-mixed mortar that I bought in. Now you can see it is very, very gritty. So hopefully it'll be a bit more robust for this big gable end. Lots of flecks. I don't know if you can make that out there. Lots of flecks of stone in it. I think it's flint, if I remember rightly. From Cornwall. Right, so I've got the old faithful pick for any bits there that are clinging on. Again, 3 different sizes of trowel. As we're going from thin to thick to thicker. Now, if you're new to the channel, you're not right sure on what we're doing, well, basically, we're curing dampness. And we're not using chemicals and strong cement mortars and things like that. What we're doing is putting this building back to how it was when it was constructed in 1864. Yep, a long time ago. This is it's pure lime mortar, no cement. Obviously, some of you chaps and chapettes out there will know exactly what it is we're doing. So what we do, we put it in, making sure that it's filled from front to back of the joint. Now I've cut the joint out here, they're probably about getting on 30mm, most of them. So we get plenty in there. Want it to last. And we push it right to the back of that 30mm and then bring it flush with the front of the brick. However, that isn't the end of it. Because after a couple of hours, this will have pulled in a bit and we'll give it a good old whack with what we call a churning brush, which compacts it and it opens up the texture. Now you could, once you've compacted it, you could finish it off really with a bit of a stick. However, we're leaving it open on this one to give it as much chance of getting water out as we can. And of course, if you are new to this, have a quick flick through the list of videos we have there, and we'll look at us removing the paint off all the brickwork and stonework. That'll give you a better idea on what we're about. Because that is basically how it comes. You don't add water, you don't do anything to it. You might have to like give it a bit of a stir, because it might be sort of drier at the bottom of the bag than at the top. But apart from that, it's good to go. It's in sealed polythene bags, so it's not setting on you. Mmm. Mmm. Yes, it's a lovely bit of gear, this. I'll give you a I'll look at the bag in a bit, so you can see what it is that we're using. Highly recommended. More on the fork. This brickwork is basically I pre-wet it before I've started pointing. Use the old spray bottle, give it a good saturation. And to be quite honest, it was already wet because it's been raining for the last few hours. It's only just dried up, so it was quite wet to start. Right, well, I'll crack on and do a bit more and come back to you shortly. Well, the weather's not the best in the world, but put a bit of sort of tarpaulin thingy up just to keep the rain off, keep having showers. Anyway, I've just had a go, the very first time flying the drone. Didn't film that. I want to get slightly better first. Don't want to embarrass myself by crashing and burning on camera. So yeah, it was quite good. I think if I'd had a bit more sort of space, we could have had a decent flight out of that, but a little bit tight for space in here. Right, let's crack on with some work. Cherishing sheets. Put this big tarpaulin that I've turned around. I've stretched right across the driveway. I'll drop over all this tonight, along with the cherishing sheets, which will be better. Right, well, we've got a bit of lunch, so time to crack on. So if any are fancying a bit of a do at line pointing, I highly recommend that you get a pre-mixed one like this. It's so much easier. I mean, I've got tons of experience, and I prefer this. It's just easier to do. That's annoying. Tie it up there. Tie it up out of the way. There we go. Remedied. Right, so I said it in the past, these bricks were put down in 1864, and trying to put this building back to the way it was built in 1864 by getting rid of all of the modern muck and replacing it with lime. And of course, not just any old lime, it's a quick lime mortar, not an NHL. Quick lime mortar sets by way carbonation, basically sets by the air sets it. There's no chemical set involved, hence us having to put the sheeting on, what we call cherishing, to prevent it drying too fast. There's a bit of a breeze or sunlight will set it too fast, and then it'll just powder. Not immediately, but over the next 12 months it'll start powdering away, and that'll be it then, with a redoing it. Right, I need some more stuff, so what we'll do is this here. That's the stuff that we're using. Now, I'll just show you. This is straight out of the bag. That's not had anything added, no water added to it or nothing. That's ready to use. That's how it comes. So you don't need to worry about gauging your water, etc. The only thing is it can be a little bit wet at the top and dry at the bottom. So basically you're just going to mix it in a bit. There we go. Bit of a mix. Now I get this from Cornish Line. Now there are other companies obviously that do pre-mixed mortars. We're not going to name names because we're not in the business of advertising. So we want a different size trowel, which is a different size joint. 3 different size trowels today. It's no good me telling you what size they are because they're all not standard size. They're all not the same size as when they were manufactured. But we've got somewhere in the region of 6mm, 8mm, and then we've got one which is about 3mm. But they're approximate sizes. You can't buy them at sizes. I've messed about with them. That's better. I've also got a brew over there. I'll have to tackle that in a sec. Sorted. Like I say, this stuff is very, very gritty. I don't know, see if you can hear it. It's almost like if you could visualise you using quite a gritty sharp sand, little pebbles in it. It's kind of like that. And this mortar will dry a lovely white. It'll make this building look really clean and neat. You walk there out of the way. Of course, I've noticed there's 1 or 2 here in America that have been watching the videos. So welcome to the channel. It'd be interesting to know what your thoughts are on the way that we restore these old Victorian properties in England. I've also noticed there's a few viewers in Ireland as well. So welcome to the channel, Ireland. Now I know that you over there in Ireland do still participate in the use of lime. Your older structures too. Some good craftsmen in Ireland. And okay, we'll mention Scotland as well. Because I would imagine there are some of you from Scotland that tune in and enjoy it. If you're from Scotland, you want to shout out, drop it in the comments box and we'll see what we can do for you. Again, putting the hook to the wall, I don't know if you can see that, and pushing it right to the back to make sure that it's full. Very important that it's full. Cheers. Oh, left that tea bag in there a while. Bit strong that. Need the old pick. Get rid of them last bits of cement mortar that's stuck just on the edge of the, well, say Harris, but edge of the brick. That wire there, that's fibre, BT fibre. Don't break it. Snaps very easy. Left a fair bit on these bricks, haven't I? Yes. So you don't grind it out with these. Well, grind it out, but you don't grind it out. You basically put a thin blade through the joint and then break away the mortar. Why? Well, basically because you don't want to damage the brick with your grinder. It's very easy to do with a grinder, especially when there's a lot of dust flying about and your visibility's bad. I don't mean you need glasses, I mean visibility for the dust. Somewhere, or have we? No. Yes. Again, it's important that you get the dust out of there. I mean, there's not a lot in it. It's only from where I've just been touching up there a little bit. Because all this had been cleaned and made dust free quite some time ago. Now on the very bottom, with this green, that's like a moss starting to grow. So what we can do with that is get the old bronze brush on it and give it a rub. Right, so next little job, we need the old pump squirt bottle. Open her up, give her full throttle there. What we're doing, we're going into the joint. Oh, fine jet of water, as you can see there, actually into the joint. Because that's where we're going to get the suction for what we're doing. So make sure that that area is saturated so that the existing line bedding isn't so thirsty when we put the new line bedding in, or the new line pointing, shall we say. So your perps, into your perps. You just give her another. Right, she's now good and wet. So we'll give that 2 minutes just for the water to pull in. We don't want it sat on the surface, because what will happen is when we go on there with the lime, it'll smudge on that wet brick, and we've got a hell of a job cleaning it up then with a bit of the old white vinegar and a little scrubbing brushy type detail brush. So we'll give it a minute. Okay, so that's pulled in now. It takes a couple of minutes, but it just saves you a lot of hassle later on having to clean things up. Well, you're always going to get, sort of white on the bricks here, there, and everywhere from things like the churning brush, or where you flick it with a trowel. But that's just very, very fine bits, and it basically just weathers away in no time at all. Raining again out there. As I've said to you in the past, you're better off doing all your perps first. Well, not all of them. You won't do the whole building. Just the area that you've decided you're going to do. And what you can do, you can set yourself a target. So you count the bricks. 1, 2, 3, 4. So to there is a metre. That's 4 bricks. And you can count from the bottom brick up to 11. And that gives you a metre. So that gives you a square metre. If you set yourself out that area, you could say, right, I've got a full metre there, all the perps done, and then start running in the bedding joints. That way you're not, it's not as monotonous doing it. You've got a target to work towards, rather than looking at a huge gable end and thinking, oh my God. Just break it down in your mind into square metres. And that way it becomes pleasurable to do. And another important factor of using the old lime is you don't want it too wet, because if you do your mortar too wet, that's also going to give you some technical issues, things like shrinkage and stuff like that. So be warned, don't want it too wet. I mean, this weather that we've got today is really, it's ideal, because the air is full of moisture with all this rain we keep having. It's not in direct sunlight, the temperature's not too hot. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not cold by no means. I mean, we've not even got the thermals on today. It's that warm. The tricky bits around this wire, very thin joints, and at the same time a wire in the way. Just Every time, make sure it's pushed right into the back, otherwise it will fail on us. And factoring it in, and there we go. Aye. Now the very bottom of the wall below us here is block paving right up to the building. Once we've finished, they've got a chap coming in and he's going to put some French box drains in. Take all the moisture away from the edge of the building. Because whoever's done the drive, they've got the floor going to the building and out to the road. So of course it all gathers up against this wall. The bottom of this is saturated. Pointing that I did on Friday at the very bottom is as wet as it was when I put it in Friday, which is good. I mean, eventually it will set, but you know, it's still a bit of a pain because it's awkward when it comes to doing your compacting with your churning brush, because it takes quite a few days to dry in. In it goes. Again, the very thin trowel. I mean, you know, it's extremely thin, that one. And to give you an idea, that one there is about 5mm. So you can see how small it actually is. And that's great for doing, obviously, the thin joints, but it's also great for pushing in to compact, you know, because it'll fit into any size joint that and push that mortar right to the back. Also, another kind of rule of thumb is when you're cutting out your joint, try and cut it so it's square, yeah. And you know, don't leave like tops and bottoms on. I mean, the odd bit, don't worry about that, you know, but try and make sure that they're square and deep. I mean, the rule is the depth that you go in wants to be double that width there. Okay, so if that one, well, let's say that's 5mm there, because that trail's about 5mm. You want to go in there 10mm. That makes sense. I've actually gone in about 20mm in places on this, but that's purely because I'm trying to make sure that it's going to last. It's a very important building locally, this. Let's get rid of some of these big deep bits so we can pull in a little bit. So if you went back to say the 1950s or indeed the early 1960s, this is exactly how they'd have been doing it. They'd have been using lime for doing the repoints. It wasn't really until the mid to late 60s, early 70s when they started using Portland cement for everything and basically cut out lime. I mean, I believe some of the brick masons were putting a little bit of Portland cement into the lime mortars to get it to set quicker, but they all weren't doing that. It was only some. So I've been told. I mean, it is a lot slower doing the lime than doing the cement mortar. A lot slower. But that reflects in your cost. You know, there's a lot more involved. The price of the material is a lot more expensive, of course. It's rather uncomfortable down on this ground today. I did have some Hessian earlier on that I was melt on, but I've not used it on the wall. I may have to go to the van and get another piece out. So basically, this building was put up in 1864. It was built as an inn and served the community for many years, and then it's had various uses since then. So 1864. 100 years later, I arrive. 1964. 60 years after that, I'm here repointing it and getting it back to what it was in 1864. So it's taken 160 years to be put back to what it was when it was new. Interesting. Oh. Right, I'm going to go and get some Hessian to kneel on because it really is uncomfortable. Oh, that's better. Oh, that's really good. Right, okay. Let's get back to this pointing.
Oh there.
How are you doing?
The weather's a dead loss, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, well,
Absolutely.
hello. What can you do, though? England, isn't it?
You've got to do it, unfortunately.
Yeah. bit of plastic and we're all right.
When?
A bit of plastic and we're all right, you know, we can carry on. Yeah. Yeah, it's going to look nice when it's all done. Yeah, oh, it will do, yeah. Yeah. Dry nice.
Save the damp as well.
Yep, 100%.
Okay, all the best.
See you later. We get that a lot here. Random old blokes putting the pennies worth in. They like a bit of a chat about it. That's alright, I don't mind. It's rather nice actually. Showing interest in what you do. This pre-mixed mortar that I'm using, they advertise that you can use it also for your line plasters and renders, etc. I mean, yeah, it worked perfectly well. However, it does have some quite big stones in it. You know, we're talking big. Now, some of you all know from previous videos, I served my time as a plasterer. Spent many, many years plastering. So, I do know that if you've got, or you're putting on your floats, and there are big lumps of stone in it, it's bloody frustrating. Really frustrating. Especially if you're trying to get like that last float coat on. Not so bad with your scratch coats. You know, just flick them out. But when it's your float coat and you're running across it with your feather edge or your derby, etc., and it picks a stone up and it rolls, and it leaves a great big groove down what you've just done. Frustrating. Anyway. Talking of stones, I better get some more stuff out of the bag. I'm just waiting for a window in this weather to go and scrat up the belfry at St Anne's Parish Church and do that repair. It seems that it's either gale force winds or raining. We don't seem to get a nice day where it's just still and sunny. Is this now the norm for Britain? Or Northern Britain? I could be wrong there.